From traumatizing images to storylines about organ harvesting, buckle up and get ready for the darkest, most disturbing episodes of kids' TV ever aired. Don't forget to brush. Nickelodeon's Cat Dog was a weird show at the best of times. It starred the titular cat-dog hybrid in a gross, run-down world of humanoid animals, so grotesque imagery was part of the package. But no episode would ever take this further than Teeth for Two. At a dental checkup, Cat Dog discovered that whatever damage one does to their teeth will actually affect the other. Therefore, Cat, who looks after his teeth, has a mouth filled with decay, while Dog, who doesn't, has perfect dental health. Cat desperately tries to convince Dog to look after his teeth, but to no avail. So the duo wind up battling each other by damaging their own teeth, from gnawing on sink pipes to using their jaw as a punching bag. Now, this is all twisted enough. I can practically feel some of that pain myself, but nothing is worse than one sequence where Cat attempts to brush Dog's teeth while he sleeps. I think it's best just to let you watch it for yourself. I think I'm gonna hurl. Perfect Schmurfect. Cartoon Network's Courage the Cowardly Dog is best remembered for its many, many creepy episodes.
Return the slab. What? Return the slab, or suffer my curse.
A whole load of these episodes also feature some pretty adult themes, such as abusive relationships, depression, and most notably, perfection, or at least the lack of. The series finale, simply titled Perfect, is all about Courage realizing to his horror that he is far from perfect. Because of this, a figure known as the Perfectionist manifests and attempts to teach the dog to be the image of perfection. But as the little canine seems to fail every test given to him, the stress gets too much, and he lies awake at night unable to get a wink of sleep due to recurring nightmares about, well, see for yourself.
You're not perfect.
Sure, why not? Totally appropriate for kids. It's not all bad, though. The episode ends with Courage realizing, with the help of, don't ask, a fish in his bathtub, that it's his imperfections that make him him. So yeah, a heavy topic for kids, but an important one. This disgusting blue weirdo, though, he's not okay, and never will be okay. I still wake up in a cold sweat thinking I can see that horrid early 2000s CGI-looking ass in my laundry basket. Worm Woes. If you're a certain age, the name Mr. Meaty probably fills your soul with a cold dread. This hideous Nickelodeon puppet show aired in the mid-2000s and was renowned for being ugly, vile, and unnerving.
Okay, no laying eggs in my bread.
Ugh, okay, so what could possibly be worse than that? Mooch Master P, that's what. An episode so notorious, it's one of the only things people remember about this damn show. The premise sees the character Parker eating a raw meat patty and finding himself stuck with a tapeworm. Sounds horrid, right? Well, it gets worse.
And approach the sausage. Gotcha.
Everything about this is utterly rancid, but it gets even worse. They just fished a tapeworm out of his stomach, didn't they? Putrid. Vile. But I think you know what I'm going to say. It gets even worse than that.
Here you go. I've handled these little beauties before. Come on, sweetheart. Okay, come on. Here we go. Come on in.
Why? Who woke up one morning and thought, yes, I know what these kids these days are into. Parasitic worms. Ha ha, they'll love this. Well, kids did not, in fact, love it. And neither did parents. After some seriously low ratings and a whole lot of criticism, the show was pulled after just 2 seasons, which is still too many if you ask me. Wish me luck sleeping tonight. A fearful future. Sugar, spice, and everything nice. These were the ingredients to make the perfect little girls, the Powerpuff Girls. But one particular episode was made with plain sadness and everything badness. Now, just in case you're uncultured and you don't know who the Powerpuff Girls are, they're 3 superpowered sisters, Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup, who defend the city of Townsville from evil, with plenty of gags along the way. Which is why the episode Speed Demon was so impactful. Looking forward to a much-needed vacation, the girls decide to race home from school and accidentally wind up traveling 50 years into the future, where they're immediately met with their old teacher. Only she's absolutely traumatized and keeps repeating this.
Waving goodbye, and they raced off and
But,
raced
Miss
off.
Keene, we're right here.
Vanished for 50 years, 50 years, 50 years, 50 years.
50 years.
In their absence, the city of Townsville has become a post-apocalyptic hellscape in which all of their friends and family suffer. Turns out the villain known as Him capitalized on the girls' absence, eliminated all the other villains, and conquered the city. Yeesh. So everybody's probably really happy to see the Powerpuff Girls back, right?
It's your fault. Your fault. Your fault. Your fault. Your fault.
What have we done?
Oh my god. In a panic, the girls fly off into space to escape and manage to return to their own time somehow. Terrified after their harrowing experience, though, they cancel their vacation and claim they can never have time off after all. Jeez, what an ending. They're basically forced to be on call day and night for the rest of their lives, or everybody they love will be destroyed. What's worse, their friends and neighbors actively blamed them for not being there to save them, when they didn't even do anything wrong. Yeah, this one definitely isn't for the faint of heart. Guilty conscience. It's tough to imagine SpongeBob being in any way disturbing, but I assure you, it's definitely gone there. The episode Nasty Patty revolves entirely around SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs grappling with the belief they've ended the life of a health inspector by feeding him a grotesque burger. They haven't, he just swallowed a fly and passed out, but regardless, the crippling guilt and anxiety they feel is totally real. In fact, the rest of the show is spent with the duo trying to dispose of the body. Meanwhile, Krabs is constantly trying to rein in SpongeBob's guilty conscience with threats of jail time as he laments his role in their crime. I mean, that's some seriously heavy subject matter for a kids show, don't you think? Heck, the episode was even banned at one point in South Korea due to just how macabre it was. All that said, this is still a supremely entertaining watch, even with the debatable subject matter. Then again, I'm speaking as an adult. What do you guys think? Is Nasty Patty a step too far, or are we not giving kids enough credit? Let me know down in the comments below. Transmutate. The 1990s sequel to the original Transformers cartoon, Beast Wars, is considered by many to be the pinnacle of the franchise. With compelling characters, interesting plots, and for a time, state-of-the-art visuals, it was a real treat for fans. Well, most of it was anyway. One episode, known as Transmutate, dealt with some seriously tough topics that probably left a lot of kids feeling pretty uncomfortable. So, within the lore of the show, the heroic Maximals and evil Predacons are stranded on prehistoric Earth, battling one another. The only way for either side to enlist new recruits, however, is to recover fallen stasis pods containing Transformers. This episode opens with both sides rushing to secure a pod, but little do they know, it's catastrophically damaged, and the Transformer inside is in a bad way. When it emerges, it's revealed to be a creepy, skeletal creature incapable of transforming and barely able to communicate. Despite that, it's incredibly powerful and seemingly unaware of its own capabilities. Both the villainous Rampage and the noble Silverbolt feel a kinship with the being and attempt to win it over to their side. But unable to control its power, the good guys eventually recommend putting it into a stasis lock, a permanent coma, as it represents a danger to itself and everyone around it. Ultimately, though, it sacrifices itself to stop the two sides fighting each other, leaving them to mourn their shared loss. This supremely dark episode presents viewers with a Transformer that is essentially both physically and mentally disabled, incapable of comprehending the reality of its existence. Not only that, but the downer ending is enough to make anybody feel miserable. Okay, on to brighter things, right? Right? Scary Sister. Yeesh, then you thought Transmutate was rough. Enter the Powerpuff Girls episode, Twisted Sister. The girls think they need a hand with their crime-fighting duties and decide to create a fourth Powerpuff to help. Trouble is, they can't quite get their hands on the same ingredients that were used to make them, so they improvise. The result? A horridly oversized, developmentally stunted girl that they dub Bunny. After being given the orders to fight bad guys and throw them in jail, Bunny has a hard time figuring out who those bad guys are and ends up imprisoning the police and allowing criminals to wreak havoc across Townsville. Predictably, the other girls aren't too pleased, so they scold her and kick her from the group, causing her to fly off in tears. And despite this, later, when the girls find themselves in serious trouble, Bunny returns to save them. Only after she does, well... The unstable creation finally reaches its limit, and Bunny perishes in a bright flash of light. So let me get this straight. The Powerpuff Girls engineer a living being to make their lives easier, and upon seeing that it doesn't meet their standards of perfection, they cast it aside. Man, what is with these old cartoons? Only this one's even worse than Beast Wars. Transmutate was the result of a freak accident, whereas Bunny was the product of the Powerpuff Girls' own hubris. She didn't ask to be born, only to be accepted, and it cost her life.
She was good after all. We were the ones who were bad.
What a horrible kind of day. Arthur is a pretty special show. You'd be hard-pressed to find an issue that it hasn't covered. Divorced parents, disability, gay marriage, it handled all these topics with grace. So is it really surprising to hear that the show aired a 9/11 episode? Not literally, of course. The episode is called April 9th, but that's not exactly a subtle allegory. In it, a fire in the school leaves the kids with a wide range of complicated emotions. Sue Ellen is devastated by the loss of her journal, a sentimental item of great importance to her. Blinky is traumatized, utterly terrified by anything that even remotely reminds him of the event. Arthur, meanwhile, finds himself with unbearable anxiety surrounding his father's safety. Finally, Buster feels completely left out, like he's missed something profoundly impactful after oversleeping and avoiding the fire. As you can probably tell, the episode was conceived to help kids deal with their own complex emotions after the devastating events of September 11th, or any tragedy, really. A profoundly dark subject, sure, but an important one. I can imagine this episode has helped a lot of kids over the years, and the world probably is a better place because of it. You know what else makes the world a better place? My subscribers. I love ya. So why not join them and hit those like and subscribe buttons? That way you'll never miss out on another awesome video like this one. Now back into the rabbit hole. On the wrong tracks. When I was a young lad, shortly before I became a dinosaur kid, I was a die-hard train kid. Seriously, my whole life was trains, so Thomas the Tank Engine was a huge part of it. But there was one particular episode of the Happy-Go-Lucky Choo-Choo Show that left many kids feeling disturbed. Its name? The Sad Story of Henry. The titular Henry is a train that, after entering a tunnel, refuses to emerge on the other side. Say it's raining, and he's worried about the downpour messing up his beautiful paint job. So he stubbornly remains in the tunnel, shooting steam at everybody that tries to reason with him. After trying everything they can think of, the boss man, the fat controller, says, "Okay, whatever you want." Cut to, oh man, this horror show.
They took up the old rails and built a wall in front of him so that Henry couldn't get out of the tunnel anymore.
They literally imprison him, leaving nothing but a little gap so he can watch the outside world go by, a world he'll never rejoin again. Seems like a colossal overreaction, right? Well, I'm sure the show will acknowledge that and let him out, right?
But I think he deserved his punishment. Don't you?
What do you mean he deserved it? Sure, man, I'll remember that next time my kid is acting up. Sorry, Billy, you don't want to come down for dinner? Well, I guess I'll just have to board your door shut. I'm sure I'll be a great dad. Squidward's Unhappy Memories.
Hey, SpongeBob's back!
Yeah, it seems SpongeBob is the show that keeps on giving for these totally twisted episodes. This time, it's Squidward's suffering that takes center stage. In Season 8's Are You Happy Now?, SpongeBob discovers that Squidward doesn't have a happiest memory. So, SpongeBob desperately tries to create a happy experience for his friend. But nothing works. Sounds gloomy, right? But what truly turns this one into a depressisode is how seriously it plays Squidward's mental health. Not only is he portrayed as severely depressed, but the episode bizarrely showcases several gags implying Squidward is about to, well, see for yourself.
Squidward! Down here! He's upstairs. Hey! Hey! Squidward! Well, at least we know he's still alive.
And things only get more uncomfortable.
I just can't seem to get happy. Well, that didn't help. I can't seem to get happy. Maybe this will help.
I have no idea why this is considered okay for kids. Sure, the twisted nature of the jokes may go over the head of a child, but that doesn't change the jokes themselves. SpongeBob aired an episode entirely designed to laugh at the fact that Squidward is miserable, depressed, and on the brink of doing something irreversible. Is it any wonder that the episode was pulled after first airing? It wouldn't be shown again on Nick for another 5 years. Poor Squidward, man. He deserves better. The Beastly Baby. Given how many times Nick's shows have appeared in this video, it's hardly surprising to hear that Rugrats has its own unsettling eps too. Angelica's worst nightmare begins with the titular toddler getting some news. Her parents are expecting another baby. Racked with anxiety about how her life may change with a young sibling in the picture, Angelica enters a nightmare sequence that gave me some nightmares of my own.
right. I'm the new baby. I'm the new baby and you're the old baby, see? And you better get something straight right off the bat. There ain't room in this house for the both of us.
The, creepy mafioso baby threatens her, but when she tells her parents, they naturally don't believe her. In fact, after giving the new baby Angelica's room and all her toys, they banish her to the wardrobe and give her a single slice of cheese for dinner. But her new sibling comes for her.
Hey, what are you doing here, sister? I thought I told you to scram. I warned you to get out, but you wouldn't listen. Now I'm gonna have to teach you a lesson. You had your chance.
Cue a genuinely unsettling chase scene with all the horror movie trappings. Heck, it's topped off with Angelica struggling to start a car as Big Boy slowly approaches. But in the end, she's completely unable to escape.
Where do you think you're going, sister? I wonder what a toy car would taste like.
No, please! I'm your big sister!
Well, now you're num-nums.
Anyone else uncomfortable? The whole sequence with Big Boy is infamous. The look, the voice, the horror movie atmosphere, totally nasty and surely responsible for a lot of scared kids. But this episode is a heavy one even for adults. You see, at the end of the show, Angelica's parents reveal that she won't be having a sibling after all. Wait, did she and her husband miscarry? I mean, they never end up having another child, even in the sequel series, all grown up, even though they were overjoyed at the thought of it. Man. Oink oink. If you were a weird kid of the 2000s, like me, you almost definitely loved Invader Zim. The short-lived Nicktoon was known for its edgy aesthetic, random humor, and dark tone. So when a show already renowned for being unsettling goes too far, it really goes too far. The show follows the incompetent alien invader Zim, who tries and repeatedly fails to conquer Earth. See, he's constantly thwarted by Dib, the only guy on Earth who realizes that the green kid might not be human. So, in the episode Bad, Bad Rubber Piggy, Zim vows to rid himself of Dib once and for all. To do so, he builds a device that allows him to send objects through time and transports, rubber pigs to key points in Dib's life with catastrophic effect. Dib is slowly damaged by the changing past, becoming more and more decrepit as he helplessly questions what's happening.
Whatever. I'm gonna sneak up past those giant gnomes and leave a nasty message note, leave a nasty note on his door. Gaz, have I always had these tubes in my neck?
Ultimately, Zim seems to succeed with his diabolical plan, and Dib passes away. That is until he's revived by his scientist father as a giant armored cyborg hell-bent on avenging his shattered life. Okay, let's summarize. This entire episode revolves around our main character psychologically and physically tormenting our other main character. Not to mention that he actually succeeds in sending him to sleep with the fishes, even if only briefly. No wonder this episode's infamous. I'll never look at a rubber piggy the same way again. An Alf-full ending. Come on, guys. I'm sure y'all remember Alf.
Alf Pogs. Remember Alf? He's back. In pod form.
In reality, I doubt many of you do remember Alf. A weird little alien fella and star of the popular 80s sitcom of the same name. After crash landing in the garage of the Tanners and finding himself stranded, Alf is taken in by the family, and hijinks ensue. The show ran for 4 seasons before coming to an end in 1990, with the finale, Consider Me Gone. And it didn't end well. See, the Tanner's alien house guest is finally contacted by his species, and it looks like he'll be able to return home. After packing his things and giving some heartfelt goodbyes to his human pals, he steps towards his spaceship to see his people once again. That's it. Until he's interrupted and captured by the US government. The end! Did you enjoy, kids? Alf's off to be dissected. Yay! Seriously, what the hell was that? Why end the show like this? Were they trying to traumatize little kids? Well, not really. You see, this was never actually intended to be the end of the show, but a cliffhanger leading to the next season. Unfortunately, that season never happened. So, for 6 long years, kids were left with the cursed knowledge that Alf's story ended as a government test subject. Eventually, the network released a straight-to-home movie sequel in which Alf does get a happy ending, but the reception was mixed at best. Better than nothing, though, I guess. Finale fear. Man, Alf's finale was a downer, huh? At least it eventually got a continuation that nullified the depressing ending, though. No such thing happened to another sitcom from the 90s, Dinosaurs. The show follows a society of anthropomorphic dinos who live in a world seemingly ruled by corporations. Episodes routinely dealt with controversial topics like religion, censorship, and race, but none were more impactful than the finale, Changing Nature. Thanks to the dinosaurs' abuse of the environment, they create a series of problems that ultimately lead to what is essentially a nuclear winter. In the end, the main characters are holed up in their home, forced to confront the reality of their situation.
Well, what's gonna happen to us?
Well, I don't exactly know.
But whatever it is, nobody's gonna leave you.
That's right, little guy. We'll all stay together.
Yeah, and hey, I'm sure it'll all work out okay.
Yeah.
After all, dinosaurs have been on this earth for 150 million years. And it's not like we're going to just disappear.
Do you want to tell him or should I? Yeah, the series ends with the family huddling for warmth and looking outside at the ever-falling snow, awaiting the inevitable. Jeez. Changing Nature is infamous as the single most depressing finale a sitcom has ever had. Sure, it was always sort of a given that the show could end with the extinction of the dinosaurs, but did it have to? And did it have to be so chilling? What gets me is the final sign-off from the TV presenter.
This is Howard Handupme. Good night. Goodbye.
Imagine happily watching, say, Friends, excited to see the final episode, only to turn it on and be confronted with the news that everyone perished in some horrendous natural disaster. That's literally what happened on Dinosaurs. I think I'd rather watch Ross get blown away by a tornado. Helga's Help. Oh boy, another depressisode, yay! And would you believe it's back to Nickelodeon again? This time, a particularly famous episode of Hey Arnold, Helga on the Couch. When the new school therapist sees Helga's aggressive behavior, she calls her into a session. The episode sees Helga slowly opening up about her troubled home life, complicated family dynamic, and her own emotions. With an alcoholic mother, short-tempered father, and golden child sister, we learn that she's terribly neglected and has been from preschool age.
Hey, who's taking me to preschool?
Yeah, in a minute, Olga.
No, I'm Helga, Dad. Helga.
Whatever. Go play outside, would you?
Yeesh, Helga's had it rough, like a lot of kids out there in the real world.
So nobody's ever noticed you?
There was someone.
Hi, nice bow. Huh? I like your bow because it's pink like your pants.
I'm not crying. You're crying. And the only person in Helga's life that ever noticed her, ever gave her a reason to smile, was Arnold. After talking through her feelings with her therapist, Helga feels great relief and walks away happily. Okay, so it wasn't a total depressisode, thankfully. Subjects like depression, neglect, and anger issues are tough, sure, but they need to be spoken about openly so kids don't suffer in silence. Anything that destigmatizes therapy is a good thing in my book. A what-if wish. It's all too common for shows to produce a parody episode of the classic Christmas movie, It's a Wonderful Life. The plot follows George, who, after wishing to end his existence, sees what the world would be like if he never had existed. Long story short, everyone he loves so much is worse off, inspiring him to appreciate his life. Well, when the Fairly Odd Parents parodied the movie, they took some, creative liberties. The episode It's a Wishful Life sees protagonist Timmy Turner feeling unappreciated, so he wishes he'd never been born. Now, what does Timmy see in this alternate universe to make him see he's appreciated then? Well, nothing. Nada. Zilch. In fact, Timmy sees a world where literally all his loved ones are far better off without him. His friends and family are all rich, successful, and happy, and Timmy is faced with the horrific realization that he makes everybody's lives worse. Crikey. Then, after accepting that he shouldn't exist, it's revealed to him that this was all a test. The moral of the story: don't do good deeds to get noticed, but because they're the right thing to do. What? Wait, hold up, that doesn't even make sense. It wasn't that Timmy's good deeds were going unnoticed, but people were actively being ungrateful and treating him like dirt because of them.
Happy birthday, AJ!
This computer, it's
amazing, astounding, state-of-the-art,
obsolete as of 4 seconds ago. Thanks for the high-tech doorstop. That doesn't work.
So what? Timmy makes people's lives worse by being super nice, doing them massive favors, and giving them lavish gifts? What kind of message does that send? Now, sure, it's left unclear in the end as to whether the world really was made worse by Timmy's existence, but if it wasn't, I feel like they would have just said that. And that's the truth this episode tries to convey. Timmy is a plague on his world, a parasite that sucks the joy from the lives of others, all while trying his best to help them. Or not. Maybe I'm just getting carried away. Whatever, who knows. An American Snail in Bikini Bottom. If there's one thing that kids love, it's body horror. Or so thought a confused writer for a SpongeBob back in 1999. In the Halloween-themed episode I Was a Teenage Gary, SpongeBob leaves Squidward to look after his snail, Gary, while he's on vacation. However, after Squidward neglects the snail, Gary is left needing an injection of snail plasma to heal up, something SpongeBob is scared about him receiving.
Wait.
Hold him still.
Wait.
hold him still.
Ouch. Squidward, you've injected me with snail plasma.
Well, you made me do it.
What's gonna happen to me?
Oh, nothing. It's just a little snail plasma. I'm telling you, it's all in your head.
But Squidward is wrong.
Look at me. Never better. I'm okay. Squidward said I'm fine. Ah! Ah! Gary, I'm fine. You see? That's okay. I'm a lefty anyway. No, I don't have to buy those new shoes. I take it back, Gary. Something is wrong with me.
Ugh. Look, it's Baby's first Thing movie. The newly transmorgified SpongeBob then tries to break into Squidward's house, probably desperate for help getting him out of this horrific state. But Squidward just flees, and while doing so, accidentally injects himself with the same snail plasma. Our episode ends with the duo both meowing helplessly, doomed with no way to return to their original forms. At least that's what any kid who watches this will be left to believe. I know I did. But what do you think? Was this creepy episode enough to spook you as a kid, or am I just being a big old baby? Sound off in the comments and we'll see how brave you are. Tomcat Trauma. Aw, man, you're kidding me. Tom and Jerry? What the heck could be disturbing about Tom and Jerry? Okay, we're gonna need some context here, huh? This episode, Blue Cat Blues, originally aired back in 1956, but very rarely sees the light of day now, for good reason. In it, Tom falls in love with another cat, who abruptly leaves him for Butch. He tries everything he can think of to win her back, but nothing works, plunging Tom into a deep depression. In the end, Tom's lost love marries Butch, leaving him utterly broken, so he sits on the train tracks awaiting oblivion. Yeah, you heard me right, though I wish you didn't. Shortly after, Jerry realizes his own lady love has left him for someone else. Like Tom, he falls into despair and sits next to the cat to wait for their shared destiny. Which leads us right back here. Holy cow. I don't need to tell you why this is so messed up. It's not just the very real, very disturbing ending, it's the references to depression and alcoholism too. The existence of this depressisode can likely be chalked up to changing cultural sensitivities. It was the 50s after all, and as they say, the past is another planet. But broadcasting something like this these days? Well, you gotta be kidding me. Blood runs cold. Nickelodeon's Avatar: The Last Airbender is a supremely written, incredibly iconic show. Despite being suitable for kids, it crafts a deep world and mature narrative that holds up to this day. Well, I say suitable for kids. There may be one episode that crosses the line a bit. Produced as a Halloween episode, the Puppet Master sees Katara meeting a kindly old waterbender. That's someone who can control water, in the woods of the Fire Nation. The woman, Hama, runs an inn and seems to be a stand-up lady. She's not. It quickly becomes apparent that she's been kidnapping residents of the nearby town and controlling them using the forbidden art of blood bending. This skin-crawling technique manipulates the water within the blood of another person, allowing the user to puppet their body like a meat marionette. Disgusting. But why did she become this horror movie villain? Well, she was imprisoned as a young woman by the Fire Nation, who were intent on wiping out her race. While jailed, she mastered the art of bloodbending and escaped by controlling a guard. Hama then made it her mission to avenge her people by kidnapping Fire Nation citizens. Bloodbending is a particularly nasty power as it takes away the agency of its victim, but they're still totally aware of any atrocities they're forced to commit. Sounds perfect for a kid's show, right? It's so vile that Katara refuses to use the power until she feels forced to in order to save her friends. Then when she realizes what she's done, she breaks down in tears as the episode comes to a close.
Delay forever.
My work is done. Congratulations, Katara. You're a bloodbender.
Organ overload. Oh, Invader Zim, what fresh horrors do you have for us now? How about the single most disturbing cartoon Nickelodeon ever aired? One that was even cited as the inspiration behind a real-world crime. Oh man, here we go. The episode Dark Harvest sees Zim realize a huge flaw in his human disguise. No, not the skin or the lack of ears, but the simple fact that he doesn't have normal human organs. So he sets out to rectify that, and it's just as messed up as you're thinking. Using a special device, he steals the organs of students and staff at school, replacing them with random objects like an alarm clock, a carton of milk, and even a radiator. As you can imagine, this isn't too healthy for them. But those organs aren't going to waste. Oh no.
That's it, Zim! This has to stop!
I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about.
Look at you! You've gone too far! You're a hideous blob of stolen organs!
I've been working out.
Absolutely horrendous. Naturally, Dark Harvest garnered a whole lot of controversy and often is erroneously cited as one of the reasons for the show's cancellation. But the worst thing to come out of this episode wasn't even its fault. Remember the crime I mentioned? Well, in 2006, teenager Scott Dileski was sentenced to life in prison for offing his neighbor. And when some of his classmates took the stand to defend him during the trial, they said he was fascinated by Dark Harvest. But don't worry, they quickly claimed that any comments he made about harvesting people's organs himself were just jokes. Right. And Zim is totally just a normal human boy. On that particularly harrowing note, I've had about all I can take of dark and disturbing cartoons for one day. Have you ever seen any of these episodes before? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.